Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review for this morning's Newcastle United news and press conference reaction show. My name's Paul. Thank you so much for tuning in. As Jason Tindall has spoken to the media this morning regarding the Crystal Palace game, gave updates, of course, on Eddie Howe and a few injuries as well. It's again, I just think he's sort of very different, isn't he, to Eddie? In a press conference, he sits there. He doesn't really show any emotion at all. He's very straight-faced, is Jason Tindall. Clearly, you know, I don't think he's 100% comfortable doing these press conferences, if I'm openly honest. But hey, that's his job, as he said many, many times. It's his job to cover, you know, for Eddie Howe in certain situations, and given the situation he's in at the minute, he's got the cover for him. But what I want to start with is some good news, actually. Some transfer news is that Newcastle United have signed, well, it looks like they've signed a player in the summer. It's going to be Antonio Cado. Now, Cado plays for Malaga in the second tier of Spanish football. However, he is... well, he's known as a Spanish wonder kid, and lots of top clubs were after him, including Barcelona, Real Madrid, you know, the big boys of Spain, and he's chosen Newcastle United. Now, this report's come from Fabrizio Romano, so you know, I know he's been wrong the odd time over the years, but this is pretty much a done deal, and adds that an announcement is soon set to be made to confirm Cadero's arrival at Newcastle, although it remains to be seen whether he will immediately be integrated into the first team ahead of next season. Now, when you think about the players that, you know, Spanish players growing up, they want to play for the big boys, don't they? You know, you've always got a lot of players saying, oh, they want to play for Real Madrid, they want to play for Barcelona, they want to play for the big boys in life over in Spain. But when we've beaten them, and he's chosen Newcastle United. Now, I've already had some people, you know, I put this out on social media this morning, and some comments saying, oh, don't get too carried away. He's only chose you because he knows he wouldn't get first team action at Real Madrid and Barcelona. And I'll say to you what a crock of shit that is, by the way. He's chosen Newcastle United because we are now up there with the big boys. Players will want to play for Newcastle United. Now, this, for me, rings of a Paul Mitchell signing. It really does. This is a good start. He's a very good player. And, you know, we to beat the likes of these sort of teams to this signing just says where we are as a stature of a football club right now. We are right up there. And people don't like it. People just do not like it. TJ says, are we really saying that Newcastle is bigger than Barca and Madrid now? I think we need to calm down a bit. TJ, nobody's saying that at all. And if anybody thinks that Newcastle United are as big as Real Madrid and Barcelona, then they need their heads ringing. What I'm saying is it proves that Newcastle United are now very well thought of across European football when we get an 18-year-old wonder kid who is wanted by Barcelona, Real Madrid, and other clubs in Europe. He chooses Newcastle United. The stature of Newcastle United, TJ, is growing. Whether people like it or not, it is growing. And why do we need to calm down? Why do we need to calm down when we get a player who is wanted by these massive big clubs? Why should we calm down? You know, we've had no signings for so long. So you tell me why we need to calm down, because I'm a little bit puzzled by your comment. Jesus Christ, you know, Craig says apparently being loaned back for a year to progress. Well, we'll wait and see what happens on that. I think Eddie will want to have a look at him in the summer before making that decision. Or maybe it's included in the agreement. But the thing is, his contract runs out in the summer, so he's not contracted to Malaga anymore. So Malaga really not in any position because his contract ends in the summer. So Malaga can't demand that they have him back on loan because his contract's gone. So listen, I think it's a great signing. I really do. Is it, you know, Is it huge? Is it the elite signing? No, of course it's not. But it's a big signing for us. It's a very big signing for us. And why can't we look forward to seeing these kind of players at Newcastle United? I don't understand the calm down malarkey. I really don't. I think we should be really pleased about this signing. Maybe he is one for the future. Maybe he won't be integrated straight away. But if you're good enough, you're old enough, and that's why I think it'll be interesting to see what happens in the summer, because he's a really, really talented footballer, this kid. It had been previously suggested that Malaga will find it difficult to keep a hold of him anyway, and who is due to see out the contract with the Spanish second-tier club, which expires at the end of June. The president of Malaga said last month that he couldn't entirely rule out him leaving. He says he hopes he stays, and I've always said this, but I'm no longer saying this as someone who works at Malaga or as their general director. That was somebody else who used to work at the club making them comments. Now, Fabrizio Romano went on to say that the announcement is set to be made to confirm Cadero's arrival at Newcastle United. It is expected that Newcastle will target a new winger in the summer after showing Miguel Almiron to rejoin, obviously rejoined Atlanta. Speculation. Assistant Jason Tindall told reporters on Tuesday, I know the club is scouting Europe to try and find some of the best talent that's out there, and I'm sure as soon as we have any other news, the club will, you will be the first to hear about it. So Tindall said that this morning during his press conference. Obviously, he's, I guess he's not going to say anything. The club have probably told him not to say anything until an official announcement, just that, we'll wait and see. But he did say that the press would be first to know. Now, he's only 18-year-old, but the fact is, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Porto, etc., they've all been interested in him. Now, he is a winger, a right winger as well, which is exactly what we want. And he has done well this season. The thing is, he's made 53 first-team appearances for Malaga, and he's only 18. Making his debut in 2023, scoring 5 goals and providing 6 assists in 32 games this season. So this kid can play. And I know it's second-tier Spanish football, but hey, when you stand out at this age and when you've got clubs like Barcelona, etc., interested in signing you, then as far as I'm concerned, it's a go for me. I just don't understand people being negative towards the signing or saying calm down. Why the hell do we need to calm down? Why can't we be excited about these sort of players coming in? And like I say, this is definitely, it's got Paul Mitchell written all over this. Getting his scouts out, going around Europe. Andy Kay says people thrive off negativity. But sad, really. Yeah, it is. It's weird, isn't it? Because, there's many times on this channel we've been accused of being negative when we've been honest about things. Are we always right about stuff? Of course not. But we'll give our honest opinion. And people, as soon as we start being positive about something, there's always people then trying to put you down for being positive. And it's madness, really. We've all been waiting for Mitchell to make his moves. And let's see what this guy can do. And the first one that he does, we're all getting told to calm down. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's a brilliant, brilliant signing. And I can't wait to see how this kid does at Newcastle. Whether he's, projected into the first team straight away, or if he does go out on loan, or whether we keep him in the academy. But he is someone that obviously we've been trailing for a long time. And it's just fantastic that we've beaten so many big, big clubs around Europe to get him. But coming out with the comments, does that mean Newcastle are as big as Barcelona, Real Madrid? Absolute tosh wallop. That's not what we're saying at all. But what I am saying is the pull of this football club now and the stature is growing day by day and week by week, month by month, whatever you want to say. The stature is grown. The cup win has helped us immensely because potential players have seen what they could be part of in the future. The current players have seen the reaction. We could, hopefully be in the Champions League next season as well. So it's for me, it's massive. You guys may think differently to me, but I just think it's a start of what should be a very, very good summer for Newcastle United with recruitment and changing the squad around, because we know it needs changing. Just Andy says the fact that we beat Real Madrid and Barca to that signing is a great sign of the direction we are heading. Absolutely. We know that Real Madrid and Barcelona, two of the biggest clubs in the world, two of the very biggest in the world, if not the biggest, we know what they're like for bringing in youngsters. They like to get their youngsters in and bring them through if they're not already at the club. However, this was one of them they desperately, they really wanted because they know his potential. And then bang, we've got him. It's a kick in the teeth for Real and Barcelona because he's chosen Newcastle. And I think you have to be really positive about that. Yes, we are going to go for elite signings in the summer, but this is a kid whose contract is running out. This is a kid who has played over 50 first-team games now and he's been banded as a Spanish wonder kid. So let's just celebrate that. Why should we be miserable and negative about, oh, he's just a kid, what's the point? And, he's not going to play for Real or Barcelona. You need to understand that Real and Barcelona are massive when you're grown up as a kid in Spain. It's just like PSG in France. If you have an opportunity to play for the biggest, you're going to take that chance unless there is a club of stature coming through like we are. So, yeah, screw the negativity as far as I'm concerned. You want to be negative about it, fine. But, let's just hope and think that this is the start of very, very good things to come for Newcastle United. Trulls has gifted a Toon review membership. Thank you very much, Trulls. That's very kind, matey. So let's turn our attention to what Jason Tindall had to say. He said the most important thing on Sunday was that the players went out and delivered a performance that the manager would be proud of. They showed a fantastic attitude and everyone pulled together when they needed to. Again, kind of taking the, I guess, the praise off himself, because I think at half-time against Manchester United, those players would have gone in there feeling a little bit dejected because they dominated the game. Manchester United then get an equaliser. We didn't show that on the pitch, though. There was no sort of heads down or anything like that. But, when you've dominated a game like that and then you come in at 1-1, you're thinking, wow, that is a real kick in the knackers. But then I think given how we've performed in second halves throughout the season, we've never really come out in full flow for God knows how long. But Sunday we did. And we got a goal straight away. We absolutely battered them in the second half. So I think, Jason Tindall and Graham Jones and the rest of the coaching staff need a lot of praise for what they did on Sunday. And good on them. And really good on them because, that could have gone the other way. Heads could have dropped. Manchester United is shit, though. Let's be honest. They are shit. We made them look even crapper than they are because we just demolished them. We just demolished them. Good morning, Sophie. Hope you're well. Choppy's in the house as well. Spike, good morning to you as well. LG. Let's have a look. And now we did speak about Eddie Howe. Now, what frustrated me a little bit about the press conferences this morning is that maybe have a question about Eddie Howe. Let Jason Tindall answer that and then go back to the football. Because I guarantee you, Eddie wouldn't want loads of questions fired about it. Neither would Tindall, to be honest. And I think maybe just one question should have been asked, but there was a couple of them kept adding questions saying, have you texted him? It's not just about being an assistant manager. You're mates with him. How do you feel as a person? I don't really think that's a question that should be asked to Jason Tindall in a press conference. It's pretty strong knowledge that the best mates. So how is he going to feel when his best mate's in hospital? It's a really silly question to ask. I don't agree with it. Yes, ask one question. How is Eddie? Have you heard from Eddie? And then leave it at that. Eddie's in hospital, getting the best treatment possible. And, Jason's there to talk about the game, as far as I'm concerned. And I don't really think that they should be sort of completely going on and on about Eddie Howe and how it's affecting Jason Tindall. Of course it's affecting Jason Tindall. Are these people stupid? You know, just talk about the football, because Jason looked uncomfortable there. And I don't think he should be getting fired questions. Let him have one answer and leave it at that. Simple as that. Rowan Melville with a super chat. Thank you, Rowan. Jason just showing how well he drilled Eddie himself, having the lads, even without the gaffer, they were flying. Yes. And I think he should take a lot of praise for that. LG says you wouldn't ask personal things in any other workplace. Yeah, I just, listen, I got a big surprise, right? Because I know everyone's concerned about Eddie Howe. Of course we are. But Eddie is in the best place possible, right? Of course he is. He's in hospital. He's getting treatment for pneumonia, right? But asking Jason Tindall how he feels as a mate, I mean, come on. That for me is crossing the line a little bit. It's stupid because he's his best mate. How would you feel if your best mate was in hospital with pneumonia? Of course you're going to be affected. But I thought Jason handled it well, but he was definitely a little bit, I think, put back, just his body language for me during a what is a very difficult time for Tindall and the coaching staff. Not having the gaffer there is going to be very, very difficult. But I just wish they'd just think about it just before the start. Just ask him at the start, have you heard from Eddie? How is he? Okay. And then talk about the football, which Jason was there to do. He didn't want to go into all this, stuff about Eddie Howe. I think it's not great. It's not a great look. I know they're just doing the job, trying to get a bit more information, but just why repeat yourselves over and over again? Revenger with a super chat saying Newcastle is so solid it will take +5 matches until it needs major tactical adjustments from Eddie Howe. Well, listen, he was... Well, Collux disagrees. He says you should ask personal questions in all workplaces, but certainly not to any media outlets and always in a private and confidential environment. Yeah, I think that's what he was saying, though, Collux. These things have to be discussed in a personal way, away from cameras and things like that. You're not going to talk about personal things in like a team meeting or things like that. You want that personal meeting to be private and confidential, not in front of the media, which is exactly what I think he was saying there. So, yeah, but on Eddie Howe's tactics, I mean, Jason was asked this morning, how he feels about taking charge for the rest of the season. And, it was interesting that he turned around and said that that's his job. If he's there, if he has to do that, then he will do that. And I thought that was brilliant from Tindall, because, that is what a number 2 is all about. It's what they're all about. You look at it and you think, right, as a number 2, you're there to support the manager. And if the manager isn't there, you move to the number 1 position. And that is where Tindall finds himself at the moment. So it was a good answer from Jason Tindall. Jordy Dan says, I'm behind in the video and agree, Paul. Why should we calm down? This is awesome news for NUFC. Other teams aren't told to calm down. We are living our best times. Shouted from the rooftops. Completely agree. Why? It's just ridiculous, man. Honestly, these people just want to put us down so much. It's laughable at times. Now, this is what he did say about Eddie Howe when he was originally asked. He says he's in the best possible hands and he'll be back as soon as he feels ready to come back. Your health is the most important thing. That's why it's so important that when he does come back, he is able to lead the team as we know he does, which I'm sure he will do. Now, that should have been it for me. He gave the update and said he'd be back when he feels ready. But there was 3 or 4 more questions about him. But listen, Eddie will be back when he's back. And Newcastle United will give him all the time in the world that he needs to recover and get himself sorted. And the same goes for Jason Tindall. He'll have all the support from everybody else as well as he continues to lead the club. But the players as well, they will be right behind Jason Tindall. They will understand the situation he is in, and they will help move the team along till the end of the season. If Jason Tindall is in charge till the end of the season, then so be it. That's just how it is. Tindall is one of those guys that knows his role and will stick by his role and do it to the very best of his ability. And it was interesting that he was asked in the press conference about sort of being the number 1 because he was asked that. Would he ever consider that again in the future? I think he was at Bournemouth for around 8 months. And he said it's not something that he wants to look at. He says he loves what his role is right now. As a number 2, he's settled into the job, and he's worked with Eddie Howe for 17 years, and this is where he wants to be. Now, I think Jason's had a look at the fact that he got the number 1 job at Bournemouth, and I'm not sure whether he liked it or not, to be honest. He was very sort of straight-faced when he was talking about being number 1. So I'm not sure that's for him. I think he's much more of a number 2 guy, and he just absolutely adores working with Eddie Howe. You don't work for 17 years if you're not happy with working with who you're working with. So I think he's absolutely 100% committed to his role at Newcastle United. Now, on the game tomorrow night, he says, we know the expectations and the demands we put on each other every day, and it's going to have to remain that way until the manager is back. We know what we need to do, and we know how to prepare. Which is great news, because I think if there was one criticism slightly on Sunday, I think from a few fans, was maybe they waited a little long for a substitution because of the games this week, 3 games in a week. Should he have made substitutions a little bit earlier? Listen, that's us speaking from the outside. I'm sure Tindall and the coaches know exactly the fitness of this team. He brought the players off that needed to come off, in my opinion, to get some rest ahead of Wednesday night. But you know what? I'll say this again. When you're a player, and I think this is in all sports, to be honest, it's not just football itself. In all sports, you prefer playing games to training, right? I know when I played ice hockey, I would much rather be playing in games than training. I enjoyed training, and I think the players enjoy going into work with Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall every day, and bantering with the lads and things like that. And I think that's the sort of fantastic dressing room that we have. But if you ask any player, they want to be on the pitch, and they want to be playing games. They want to be involved in games, and they want that game environment. So playing 3 games in a week, it doesn't worry me. It doesn't worry me about the fitness of the players, because I think they are super fit individuals, and they can play 3 games in a week. And adrenaline takes you through. And remember what we said a couple of weeks ago. This running, players will patch themselves up left, right, and centre to get out on that pitch, because they know how important these games are. They can get a rest at the end of the season. Whatever little niggling injuries they've got, they can get sorted. Yes, the major injuries would have to stay off and out of the side. Of course they would. But what I'm talking about is the little niggly injuries that you battle through in the running. You battle through to get this team to where it deserves to be. And I'm sure that every single one of these players wants to be in the Champions League, and they will do everything they can. And you look at Anthony Gordon on Sunday. He came on as substitute, but then he was on the pitch after the game for quite some time doing sprints and runs. That's commitment to being fit. That's commitment to getting yourself through to the end of the season. Now, obviously, Anthony Gordon is now fit to start a game, I would imagine. But for me, he can't get in the side at the minute. Now, many people have suggested maybe putting Gordon or Barnes on the right and the other one on the left, but that leaves Jacob Murphy out. Why should we leave Jacob Murphy out at the minute? But it's a good problem to have, guys. It is a good problem to have. That's a good point. The calm down dimwits are just pure salty. Yeah, but we've got Newcastle fans saying it as well. I don't get that. Mind you, I mean, it's saying the Newcastle fans, I've seen a couple, but most of them have been sort of Arsenal. There was one Arsenal fan called me out on Twitter this morning. I thought, give your seller. I mean, of all the teams to have a go at us for looking forward to a signing, Arsenal fans need to stay quiet, to be honest. Chris Webb says, always thought the intro was a bit cheesy and over the top. It's grown on me so much, never change it. Chris, were you the guy that commented in the comments a few weeks ago that it was, are you the guy that said it was cheesy and over the top? Because I'm not sure whether it was you, Chris, but it may have been. Because literally 99% of the people love the intro. And the reason that we do the intro, and I need to put this across because not many people realize it, but when we go live, the reason we do the intro is so that I can check that the cameras are ready. I can check that the sound is all ready to go. The microphones are working fine while the intro is playing. So it's very much, an intro to the show, but it's also for me in the background, running the whole show to make sure that everybody's mics are working, the cameras are on, and the levels are at what they need to be. So that's why we do the intro as well. So just to put that out there, it does serve a purpose when we go live, if that makes sense. But thank you, Chris. But that's why the intro's out there. So just needed to explain that. Now, Joe Willock, of course, everybody was saying, he's made a glass and all this. But the reason was, of course, there is a protocol now in most sports for concussion. And Joe Willock obviously suffered that against Brentford. It was a nasty clash of heads. And due to protocol, he had to miss a couple of weeks. That's just the way the protocol is. Jason Tindall confirmed that the protocol has ended now, and Willock is in with a shout of being in the squad tomorrow, which is great to hear, because the more players that we can get back, then the better for me, because Joe Willock, when he's on his game, is a very good addition. I think coming on as a substitute probably than starting games, but he is. The good thing is he's there for rotation. Should we need to just rest up? But like I said a couple of minutes ago, I think, talking about resting up, we actually need to go at this. We need to all the players just need to forget the little niggles that they've got and get out there and perform, and then get a rest in the summer, ready to come back again for what hopefully will be a Champions League season. As well. I mean, look, if you'd asked me before the start of the season, or any Newcastle United fan, how we'd feel about winning a League Cup and qualifying for the Champions League, Jesus Christ, I think we'd be ecstatic, and if we can get that, I mean, it's just an incredible turnaround, because last season we didn't know what was going to happen. This year, complaints about not signing players in the transfer window. We're not going to get where we want to be. I even said that, if we didn't sign anybody to get in the Champions League, you have to also sign elite players. You need to be in the Champions League. And you know what? You can't praise these bunch of players and the management team more than what we have, because they've done an absolutely incredible job. And it'd be great to see Joe Willock back. So, he literally confirmed he'd be in the squad anyway. Now, he did speak about Sandro Tonali, and he said, from a football perspective, we did a lot of research on Sandro before he signed. We loved him as a footballer, technically and tactically, but it's only when you work with him so closely, you realize what an exceptional talent he is, and he's delivering consistent performances. He's a great lad with a fantastic attitude. He's a top player. Now, you know what? I think it's incredible because Tonali, Billy very, very often said on this show that Bruno is one of the best midfielders that he has seen for Newcastle United. And I said last night on the show, I think that Tonali may well take over that mantle as the best midfielder we've seen, because this guy just has an incredible engine, a football brain, and he scores. He's a number 6 at the minute, yet he scores goals. He's all over the pitch. He defends well. He tackles well. He's not frightened to get stuck in. How can you not love Sandro Tonali? And, the midfield, he was asked about the 3 midfielders, saying that a lot of people are now recognizing these 3 as the best midfielders in the Premier League, the best compact midfield. And Jason Tindall agreed. He said, look, when you've got 2 Brazilians and an Italian regular internationals in your midfield, how can you not have a strong midfield? And I think this is one of the points that I was trying to make on the video that I did yesterday regarding, the likes of various people giving us a bit more recognition. And I think a lot of people now have turned around and said that Newcastle United's midfield is one of, if not the best in the country. And yes, there's some fantastic midfields. Absolutely there is. But when you look at the jobs that each individual does in our midfield, it changes the course of things. We have 3 players there who are capable of scoring goals, who are capable of tackling, who are capable of the physical side of it, who have wonderful individual skills. But they work very, very well as a threesome as well. And it's incredible. And we have to be so proud of what this club is becoming. And the midfield, Sandro Tonali, for me, he just exudes class. And I compared him to Pirlo a few weeks ago. And then some people say, well, he's a bit of Pirlo and he's a bit of this and he's a bit of that. And I just think he's just brilliant to watch. And when I was there on Sunday, watching him, live, he sort of glides along. He glides through the pitch, and he just exceptional. And I just think this kid can grow to huge things with Newcastle. Huge. Yes, there's all the bollocks going around about the betting scandal and things. That's in the past with him now. Tonali as a man is in a much better place than he was. And that's what screams out to me, that he's in a much better place as an individual, thanks to all the help he's got from specialists and from the club and from the fans and what he's done as an individual to make himself better and get rid of the addiction. He's had to work just as hard as anybody else. And I think, everybody needs a round of applause for that. And he's letting his football do the talking now, which is exactly what we want as Newcastle United fans to see. And long may it continue, by the way, because I think Tonali is just this guy, some people were saying last night that he was world class. World class is put out there too easy, but this guy could be world class, no doubt about it. The Italian national team rely on him so heavily, and we just have to go with it. Let's see how he progresses. Now, ahead of the game, after the sort of Manchester United game on Sunday, was there any injury updates or anything like that? And he said everybody has come away from Sunday's game fine. It was good to get Anthony Gordon some minutes and good to have him back with the qualities he's got. The squad is in good shape. So again, positive news. And this is what we need now. Positive. And Abs, I see you're commenting about Botman there. Botman is back training. He's on the grass now. So Jason Tindall said he is not far away either now from being involved in the first team again, which is huge. Given the games, some difficult games to end the season, if we can get Botman back for those games, that will just strengthen us even more, in my opinion. It gives the management different options as well to have a look at through the next few games. So it is positive on Botman as well. Listen, everything's positive at the minute, and you've got to love the way it is right now. There's no negativity kicking around. I'll tell you something, that there is a lot of people who will always try to put negativity on this football club, and we know who they are as individuals. Certain reporters in the news and things like that, they will try and always snap the chain on the bike, if you like, but they're not going to do that with us. We've proved certainly over the last few seasons that we are above that kind of crap, and we can come through. Newcastle have just, to be fair, got their heads down, got on with business, and done it really well. They've ignored the outside criticism, and even that's come from us sometimes earlier in the season when we played poorly. But that's what we do as fans. If we don't play well, we'll say we're not playing well. There's nothing wrong with that. And when we do match reviews, that's based on, obviously, a match review, what we've just seen in front of us. But on the whole, when we do our season review, what a season, man. If we can finish in the top 5, and I'm pretty sure we will. And for me, it's now all about where in the top 5 we can finish. Can we actually finish 3rd? Can we finish 2nd? Because if we win tomorrow night, we're 4 points behind Arsenal, and we've still got to play them. So it's incredible when you look that Newcastle could actually finish runners-up in the Premier League. Now, don't get me wrong before you jump on me. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying it is a possibility because it is mathematically possible. We win our game in hand. We're 4 points off Arsenal. We still have Arsenal to play. And we know how good we can be. But this is Newcastle United. What I will say, it's Newcastle United. And we all know what a roller coaster ride Newcastle United is every single season. It doesn't matter what happens. It's always like that. Now, granted, it's been like that most of the time on the way up on that roller coaster, and we don't want to come down. And let's hope we don't. But there is going to be times where we will hit speed ramps in the road, undoubtedly. Every football club does. But my God, the feeling around this football club right now is absolutely immense. And we've got to love that. We've got to love the immense feeling that's around this football club right now. Love where it is. And love how we're feeling as fans. It's going to get better as well. It's an incredible atmosphere at the minute. But there you go. That is the news this morning. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Nearly 700 people in on both platforms, which is incredible for a morning show. So thank you so much, guys. Don't forget, we're back tonight, 7 o'clock, with the actual match review. Preview. We'll look at Palace. We'll look at Newcastle. And obviously, we'll go through all the stats and see what happens tomorrow night. I mean, look, I'm confident of 3 points again. Why shouldn't we be? Just sod it. We play to how we know we can play. I think we win the game. So, yeah. But we'll tune in tonight at 7 o'clock and we'll go through it all. If you have enjoyed the news show this morning, guys, don't forget to give it a like. It's really important that we keep the thumbs up coming in because it tells YouTube that something good is happening on this channel. And it pushes us out in the search results across the world. So it does help us massively if you can give us a thumbs up. And of course, if you're new, please do subscribe, completely free of charge. Make sure you hit the notification bell, though, so you never miss an upload or a live show. And of course, thank you to Mamaroo Records for sponsoring the channel. Based in Whitley Bay for all your music needs, for your vinyl, CDs, merchandise, do a bit of sport merch, and of course, gift cards. If you can't get into the shop in Whitley Bay, check them out online. It's pinned at the top of the description. Give these local companies your support, guys. They really need it. So a big thank you again to Mamaroo Records. Right. Enjoy the rest of your day, folks. We'll see you back at 7 o'clock and for the match preview. In the meantime, take care.
Come back and check out some green.